What's up, everybody? I'm the Layman, and happy nondescript winter holiday, everybody, because this video is coming out like a couple days before Christmas over here in the United States of America, and wherever else celebrates it as well. Even if you don't celebrate it, Merry Christmas. Like, I want to spread the joy. Like, that's ultimately what Christmas is about. It's not, but topic for another day. But yeah, somebody dies in this episode. Yes, that is what I'm starting out with. And we'll get to who in due time. And this episode is basically in 2 parts, technically 3, but both parts take it basically one location and then another location, so I'm counting that as 2 parts. First part, after the theme song, basically ducktails off of the end of that seemingly innocuous and superfluous scene from the last episode where Oscar/Ospin said that they wanted to have a talk with Crow, and this is basically that talk that we open up on. Crow being his usual, happy-go-lucky, optimistic self, and saying that they're all gonna die and well, not really, but basically having a lot of doubts. And after a couple minutes, yeah, Ruby enters the scene. She's got a couple questions, which are answered. And basically, it's confirmed that Salem does not, in fact, have the relic that was stored at Beacon, so that's good. No, Osmond's cane is also not a relic, although it does still have some things about it that we have not yet seen. And during this, Crow gets a phone call from Headmaster Lionheart of Haven Academy, the guy who's turned traitor, saying that he was basically able to sway the council. They've got a posse to go and deal with Salem. And by Salem, I mean Raven. I was absolutely thinking Raven. I promise, guys. So yeah, Ruby runs off to get the others so that they can share the news. Crow and Osmond actually are both rightly suspicious of this. And then it cuts to Lionheart's office, where he's actually in a little bit of a meeting with Raven. This is right after the phone call, for the record. And she's basically playing the whole, survival of the fittest, blah, 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 thingy that she does. And that's basically the most important thing about that whole scene. But Lionheart does bring up Yang again, and either in a roundabout way or direct way. I don't exactly remember. Watch the episode; it's pretty good. And Raven basically storms out after that, leaving Lionheart alone to just mull with his thoughts and wondering how he's going to live with himself after this, and, whatever traitors normally think about. Then we smash cut back over to Menagerie, which, thank God, we finally we're getting back to that scene. Callie's still alive. Y'all heard me. Y'all heard me out there, Rooster Teeth. I know you. I know you're listening to this one random guy on the internet who just makes reaction vlog summaries to your flagship show. I know you do, clearly. So Callie's alive, and she's basically gonna fight that bat faunus guy that tried to ambush Blake in the last episode. Speaking of Blake, yeah, she and Ilya actually start fighting now. Trading blows, both physical and verbal, back and forth, until eventually Ilya is able to knock Blake away, get her away from her weapon, and manages to turn down the lights. This is actually for those of you who know your RWBY lore, faunus actually have better nighttime vision than normal humans. So normally this wouldn't really do anything, except Ilya's also a chameleon faunus and can therefore change her skin color. So this actually does work to her advantage more so than others. And the way it's plays out in the episode, there's actually some merit to that. However, Blake gets the great idea to counter that by basically setting the house on fire. Yep. Smart thinking there, kitty. Real humdinger of a plan you got there. That's not... I mean, granted, yeah, it's basically fighting off an ambush, and you kind of get desperate and fight, but whatever. Like, the rest of the scene is lit. And by that I mean there are lights in the scene, not that stupid slang that millennials use. Anyway, they fight for a little bit longer, naturally. And as usual, it's a pretty good fight. Yeah, and eventually Blake manages to pin Ilya to the ground. Total fanfic feel, by the way. At which point, like, after basically demanding why Ilya's doing this, she confesses that she doesn't know and starts to break down a little bit. And wouldn't you know it, Gira chose that exact moment to crash through the wall, followed very shortly by, I forget if it's Fennec or Cossack. Or Corsic. Well, it's one of those two Red Fang leader guys, but who basically get a good stab in on his back. That doesn't kill him, for the record. Like, it's clear that he has aura because later on in that scene you can actually see the wound on his character model, which nice touch. But this gives Ilya the distraction she needs while Blake is focused on that to basically get herself free. Unfortunately, she's now at the high point of her crisis of faith and doesn't really know what to do aside from that. And Gira is basically just fighting and fighting. Actually holding them off, both of the guys off pretty well. So, and y'all were worried about him. And eventually, yeah, he manages to knock one out, and the others coming at him, and all the while, the surviving brothers urging Ilya to, you know, help them kill this guy that they're supposed to kill. When wouldn't you know it, just as he's charging for another fatal blow, Sun swings in and just basically drop kicks the guy out of the way. And they need to give Sun Wukong more fights, because nunchaku that are also shotguns. How can you not? And Sun basically takes over, keeping Ilya busy at that point, holding his own against her very well, and managing to pin her with his own weapon against one of the pillars in the room, which will come into play in a moment. And wouldn't you know it, it's not. That's the one weak point in the architectural design of the Belladonna Manor, because with enough pressure applied to that one pillar, the whole balcony it's holding up will just come crashing down. And wouldn't you know it, it's gonna come down right on top of Ilya, clearly intent on murderizing her, turning her into. Nah, never mind. I'm not gonna get too gruesome with this. But Gira manages to catch the darn thing in time, right before it crushes her, and she gets out from underneath. Although now it wants to crush Gira for interfering. Fortunately, Sun has this, little thing called a semblance where he can make light clones for himself to help out. Not that it really does a lot, but again, it's not going to come crushing down on Gira immediately. However, Fennec, the guy with the hood, the White Fang guy with the hood, he basically capitalizes on this opportunity to try and deal a fatal blow to Gira while he's busy raising the roof. And however, after watching the guy charge for like 2 whole seconds, which no, you would have reacted sooner, Blake like lassos her dad out of the way with the ribbon on Gamble's shroud, and Fennec misses Gira and falls underneath the balcony. It comes crashing down on him, and the weapons which he was trying to overcharge explode. He is a former alive person now. And fortunately, Rooster Teeth is classy enough not to show a dead, mangled body like that. I mean, kids watch this show, for crying out loud. And that's basically the end of the fight. Callie comes into the room. She's finished off the Bat guy. Would have liked to see that fight, but at the very least, she's alive, and I can respect that. And yeah, they basically hand the surviving White Fang off to the whatever militia force menagerie has. I don't think they've ever been properly named. But Blake takes this moment to address the gathered crowds. Remember, on fire house, that tends to draw attention. And does the big rabble-rousing, or, well, not rabble-rousing, but the big rousing inspirational speech to go to gather up a bunch of volunteers to go help Haven Academy. Because guess what? The fact that well, technically Blake was the one who set the house on fire, but the fact that it even came to that in the first place was because of fellow faunus instead of the humans, is basically what the speech boils down to. And people step forward to volunteer, which, good on them. Hope is still alive. And she even forgives Ilya and basically offers to let her come with them, which is also nice, and the least she can do, really. I mean, like, considering she's never going to return Ilya's affections to her, like, this is basically the best she can possibly do. And Sun pinches Ilya on the shoulder as revenge for her basically, stabbing him in the gut. And pretty much the episode ends with the promise that the elder Belladonnas are going to start gathering the resources, and that Blake knows a favor that they can call in, which is very unsubtly implied to be the captain guy from back in Volume 4. Which, right on, I like that character. More of him, please. And that was the episode. I do have words, but it's just not sure exactly what the right words are. There's a ton of stuff that happened in here, and the fight and everything with Ilya was very emotionally charged, and I could practically feel it. Good job on the voice actress for that. And basically, Ilya's not a bad guy anymore, so I'm gonna have to go change a couple documents and whatnot that I've been putting together for my own benefit. And hopefully this means that the rest of Team RWBY will finally get back together. It'll be all 4 girls again, plus Sun Wukong and now Ilya. Let's get Neptune back in here too while we're at it. I liked him! Why do people not like him? He's a great guy! He's cool. Like, he and Weiss get along great together. But regardless, just makes me really interested to what they have planned for the next episode. Because after that fight, I don't know if they're gonna, like, jump straight into another fight or have another breather episode. But just, I want to know, man. I want to know what's gonna happen next. So, until next time, happy nondescript winter holiday, and I will see you in the next video.